So you go from doing sports like in high school where it's, you have the team aspect and other peers with you, but I'm sure, what was it like with a peer group or being in high school and not having maybe other peers that were doing CrossFit with you?
Yeah, so I actually, let's see, right before my freshman year, so it was after I qualified for the games and won, I stopped playing football and baseball. Um, and not everyone agreed with that decision, whether it was parents of people on my team, friends, any of that. I was pretty good at those other sports, and like that was where all my friends were, and so I dedicated that time to CrossFit, and a lot of times that was hours in the gym by myself, after school, before school, and just chasing after a single goal.
Was that a hard decision to
Yeah, it took
leave your friends?
It took like 2 months, and yeah, essentially leaving my friends, but also like not like I still saw them at school and stuff. But I was just drawn to this idea of winning the CrossFit Games, and that's what consumed my mind, and that's all I wanted to do. And I wouldn't change that for the world, and that's what I was happy doing. So
yeah, did things change socially for you when you made that decision? And the reason I ask is, like, when I was in high school, I did ballet, and that was, I didn't do it with my school friends. I did it with people outside, and it really affected sort of my social life in school, because I had friends, but we were never really that close because we didn't go to basketball practice together, and we weren't, spending time on the weekends because I was always doing that other thing. So I imagine it was similar for you.
yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I got made fun of quite a bit because like I'd pack my lunch and it was like vegetables and like healthy foods, and being in middle school, high school, like everyone's picking on everyone because everyone's so insecure. And so it was like, oh, you're lifting weights. It's like the attention. I didn't love attention. And so it was like, oh, why don't we do a push-up contest with Dallin Pepper? Like it's like that kind of thing. It just drove me crazy. So I became pretty quiet. I was just kept to myself for the most part. And I still had those friends, but like I said, we weren't together after school every day at practice, and we weren't doing the same thing. So there was less to relate upon. And honestly, I was just pretty focused individual. I was at school to get my schoolwork done so I could go home and train.
And we were talking about how the relationship is with coach athlete and husband wife, or fiancés as they are, and that it's becoming very common. Like Christy and Patrick and Shane and Tia, it's almost more normal to be married couples and coaches than not.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you spend as much time as I do training, it's like, well, when are we going to spend time together?
Yeah.
If you're not coaching me, so you might as well join in.
Exactly. Yeah. I live vicariously through Emily. Basically, is what I do. I think is I go there and people are like, oh, hi, Kyle. I'm like, hi. I have no idea who you are, but hey.
Yeah, like we'll go to a CrossFit comp and everyone, like even Sarah and I are pretty close, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Emily," like whatever, and then she sees Kyle, and she gets more excited, and I was like, "Why everyone's more friends with Kyle than me?"
Well, we actually talked to somebody this afternoon.
Yes, we did.
Who wanted to say hi to the posh Canadian.
This interview is ending very suddenly. Oh my day. McQuaid is in for it. That woman.
Did she tell you the story on that?
Yeah, she said that she didn't know he was English, and so she just thought he was a posh Canadian.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, like, if we go back to England and he sees his friends, they'll be like, "Oh, you have a Canadian twang. Like, you sound a little hillbilly, like Canadian."
I'm not accepted anywhere.
No,
I'm like an American Express.
Like
no one takes it.
Scott's dog.
This is a safe space for you, Kyle.
Oh, good.
We'll accept you.
Thank you so much. Someone will. I'm loved by Clydesale. There you go.
But she actually did say that she loves you guys and wanted to say hi and was excited that you guys are going to be on tonight. But she did want me to call you that and see your reaction.
Yeah, so it's okay. Her time will come.
Yeah, she better watch her back at the
Yeah,
games
exactly,
now.
yeah.
You have it over for her.
She's good. No,
So-
she's awesome. She's a super nice girl.
So I know I got to spend some time with Keil at Granite Games, and most times he was still hooked up to the defibrillator. And he said that you promised that this event you weren't gonna make him have to use that, but
Shock
there
was
was
applied.
again event 2, and he was under cardiac arrest.
The AED said shock advised for sure. People are like, everybody's rushing to press the button.
I think that was one of our smoothest competitions.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty smooth.
Oh, it's so smooth. Yeah, smooth as a rough piece of sandpaper.
So it was an interesting event because you had 5 top 5s out of 6 events.
Yeah, I think I was second, third, fourth, and a fifth or something. Something like that.
I have it here somewhere. Yeah, 5th, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 4th.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then the weightlifting.
Yeah.
Hey, that's all right. 22nd is still a placing, okay?
Yeah.
So
we knew the weightlifting wasn't going to be like the other workout. It wasn't going to be top 5. Shot in the dark, a top 10. So I knew I was going to be. What did I say to you? I was like, I'm going to be 15th to 25th in that workout. Like, so we kind of expected it. I hit what I needed to hit on the first attempt. I just went out there and just went for it.
We planned that.
And then really kind of unfortunate that I missed that 205 at the end. But
that damn slippy surface again, eh?
It's slippy out there.
Yeah, we did hear about that with all the pellets and everything on the.
We'll blame it on that, Amy.
Okay. No, my back foot, if you like, you could see it just slid away, and I don't know, whatever. But that was annoying. So that was disappointing. But other than that, I mean, it was kind of what we expected, and I wasn't in shock or whatever. And I just like, you know what, Haley Adams, same thing. Christy Aramel, really, what was she like? 19th place after day 1. So I was like, what? Like my girls made it through. I'm just going to do the same.
If you look at that event in totality throughout the whole of the semifinals, I mean, it was great. It was one of those events that throughout, like Emily opened at 200, which was a huge feat for Emily and herself to start with, to be quite honest. We've been working a lot on our weightlifting. And the weights that Granite Games, the girls were throwing up was pretty impressive. I mean, you had obviously Danny Spiegel, Amanda Barnhart, Gazan threw up some pretty good weight. There's some really big lifts. I'm looking at a line, well, I wouldn't be able to open with some of this. So I'm not by any means strong, but I'm not weak either. But when you look at that and I'm like, this is pretty impressive stuff. And then you had the guys do exactly the same. And I'm just like, this is a tough field. So to have that and to still came where Emily did is quite monumental.
Over 6 events. It's tough to, like at the games, we're going to have 15 usually.
Yeah.
And you have a couple bad events. Well, it doesn't kill you as much, but 6 events is like.
So I've seen your CrossFit journal, little documentary piece where it talks about your quad racing and your husband. And did you guys meet doing that together, or were you dating and then started racing together?
No, we met through quad racing. So like I've known David from I think he started racing a lot later than I did. So he probably would have been like 14, 15 when he started. So I would have been, I think we both raced in the same class for 2 years in the youth. And then we moved into the adults together, both at like 16. I think he moved just 1 year before me. He was slightly older. And then we raced together for, I would say maybe like 6 years before we actually got together. So we did. So like I've known him a long time.
Yeah.
And you made it all the way to the Premier Championships.
Yeah, so like it's called like the Premier in Ireland. So like I think I'm one of only 2 females to ever make it into the Premier in Ireland. I'm the only female ever to win an Ulster Championship race. and the only ever female to like obviously win an overall in Ireland as well. And then I've raced in the British Championships, which is in the UK. I've also podiumed at a British Championship, which is pretty cool. And I raced professional over in America. I did one pro race at Loretta Lynn's in Tennessee. No, I did.
Okay.
So yeah, and I won that as well. so so that was pretty cool. I only done like it was my first time ever racing all women, because usually I race guys at home.
So would you share with our listeners about how I mentioned I've seen the documentary, but for our listeners who may not have heard, could you briefly kind of talk about what happened, and then how you then found CrossFit with that situation?
Yeah. So basically, we just literally got home from the United States from me racing, and then it was literally the week after. So like literally 5 days later, David had his accident. We were both racing at a local track in the Ulster Championship race, and David was actually behind me for probably the first time ever, and I was kind of waiting for him to come alongside me and pass me. And the next thing, the race was stopped. There was just a red flag. I looked behind me. I was like, oh no, David's not here. So obviously I didn't think the worst, because like you can have a crash or whatever, break a leg or something, and you're like fine. So I like cut across the circuit, got to David, and he literally just said, take Emma away from me. And I was like, oh shit, something's wrong if he doesn't want me there. And yeah, literally said there and then to the paramedics he couldn't feel his legs. And then myself, still my best friend now, Mark, myself and him and a couple others, like we walked David down the track in a stretcher, and that was me and him and his family off to the hospital, and we were there for 6 to 8 weeks and a couple operations and stuff. And obviously he was like, that was him then paralyzed, and obviously still no feeling from his waist down. So he's been in a wheelchair from 2012. So David would have been like the Matt Fraser of quad racing, kind of thing in Ireland and the UK. So he was at the top of his game, and everyone was chasing him down. So it was obviously a good person to be with, and we just kind of like helped each other through the whole thing. Then and come out the other side, and we're here now.
So does he participate in any of the adaptive CrossFit?
Nope.
Classes? Okay.
After his accident, like he trained so hard for his sport, and he put everything into his sport at the time. As soon as he finished, he was like, I'm done.
It's funny when Ashleigh was talking about how they went from 6 to 4 and they had to let a person go. Last time we talked to you, you've been in that situation and you've been that person. So why why go team again?
Well, it's so funny because we're laughing because when I was on Invictus Boston, I was technically benched in the early 2019 season, and Ashleigh took my spot.
Oh wow,
isn't that so funny?
That's great.
Hilarious. We've come so far.
I decided not to go, but that is initially what happened.
Oh, it's so funny. I don't know. The thing about this season is I feel like OBA is such like I don't know. I walked into that gym and I had never met Joey in person before. I know that we competed in 2019 at the same time, but I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was. And I walked in that gym, I think it was like August of last year. And the first thing he's like, Kelsey, Keil, what's your plan for this season? And as soon as he said that, I'm like, I have no plans. I was coming off of bobsled. I knew that I wasn't going to be going back. I felt very unfit as a CrossFitter. And I just wanted to like see if that's what I wanted to do again. Like I had no idea. And the team thing didn't come together. It was almost like hey, we kind of could put this team together. And then I reached out to Ashleigh, and as soon as she was kind of like, hell yeah, let's do it, then that's when we were like, all right, we're doing it. But Joey and I definitely agreed that we didn't want to just go to participate. We really wanted to go to the CrossFit Games and fight for a spot at the top. So that was kind of what we had decided, like, hey, if it's meant to be, it's going to work out, and we're going to have this crew together, and we're going to make a run for it. But that was also before we knew if Nick and Ashleigh could be in. And so I remember saying to Joey, like, hey, if it doesn't work, like, let's just give it a run as individuals, and we'll still train together and try to get as fit as possible. But I just feel like everything aligned for us this year.
So Ashleigh, same question to you. You're still a very young athlete, accomplished as a teen, done some very high level team stuff. Why team this year for you?
I had just gone through a transition of like not competing for a while. I would do the open and everything, but essentially took about 2 years off. And team, I feel like, can always be like a very hit or miss opportunity. It always sounds really cool, and then there's an issue of like you not gelling 100% with your team. That's like when Kelsey was just talking about how I benched her. I decided not to go because I was like, this just isn't the team for me. And I told myself I would only do team if I knew it was a good fit, and I just wasn't willing to put myself through the nags of training every day and how hard it can be with people that like you just don't really like. So meeting them initially, I remember I drove to Philly. It took me like 12 hours. I rented a Tesla, which was like the worst mistake of my life, because like a 4-hour trip ended up being 12 with all the charging stations I had to do. But walked in really tired. First people I saw was Kelsey and Joey, and Joey's like 12-foot dog ran towards me. And just like with one training day, I knew that like these were my people, like my ride or die. And it just, I knew from there it was like gonna happen.
So was one of the stipulations that you don't have a bench? It's just the four of you?
No, yeah, there's none. We got no alternate, so if one goes out, we're all out.
So what's the goal this season?
I mean, our goal was kind of the same thing going into Granite. It's hard because there's been so many teams that have been around for so long. So it's easy to say Mayhem's gonna podium, Invictus, all these teams have been around for years and years. I've always told everybody on the team, my goal for us is to train as hard as we possibly can in training and go out there and do the best we can. And as long as that happens, like I'll be happy with each and every one of them. If we finish first, then that's just a bonus.
Yeah. I fully believe that we can shake up this CrossFit Games leaderboard that I think that a lot of people think, you know, they have their like top hitters for obvious reasons. But, you know, I think that we're kind of this maybe a little dark horse coming in that, you know, is going to have a lot of fun doing it and hopefully kicking ass and taking names.
I like that. Is that Oliver? Is he making noise?
Oh, yes. He's making some little whining noises. But
I have a future girlfriend for him. Come here, Jojo. Come here.
Ooh.
You want to meet your friend? Come here.
Where's Hanky?
Oh, this is my Jojo.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh.
You see her? She's a Australian Shepherd Rat Terrier mix.
It's a party. It's a party.
Oh, doggy party. I have two more, but they're too big to lift up to the camera. So.
This is Hank.
And mine's on vacation with my daughter.
Ouch.
Oh.
This is a mama.
Ooh, big yawn.
Big yawn.
Oh, now I've upset the troops. I think they think it's time for. They eat at 5, so they're like, "Oh wait, something's happening." Love our dogs.
those are cute dogs so much. We're a dog friendly show. Every one of our co-hosts has dogs, so.
Also because in the quarantine days of COVID, I had the chance to train, so I didn't stop, and I had the chance to train hard. So I think that really helped me to get better, and I really feel that I was more confident than last year, both mentally and physically. I got to know myself much better than last year. I got to know my limits well than before, and yeah, so I was more confident on many sides, and I knew that I could make it at least to semifinals, but maybe something more.
And for our listeners, the sixth and seventh place finishers at
Yeah,
Strength
I
and
was just
Depth.
going to say this. Go ahead.
Yeah, the sixth and seventh place finishers at Strength and Depth were two-time champion Katrin Davidsdottir and 2013 champion Sam Briggs.
Yeah.
I mean, that was going to be my question. Like, I know you're relatively new to the sport, but do you know how legendary these women are, and like, how does that sit with you knowing that you beat them?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it yet. I mean, I really love Katrin. I mean, she's my idol. She's one of my favorite, and being so close till the end, and the fact that I beat her just until last word. I mean, I'm a bit sorry because really I love her so much, but
don't be sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
You earned it.
But I'm sure she's going to make it this weekend in last chance qualifier. I'm cheering for her. And yes, I know it was amazing. Also in the warm-up area. I mean, I always seen those athletes in television and in Instagram, and being next to them in the warm-up area and in the competition field was amazing. I mean, I was so excited. But I have to say that when I'm in the competition floor, I mean, there could be anyone next to me, but I'm so focused on what I have to do, on the strategy that my coach tell me to do, like the workout, that I don't care who's next to me. I just focus on myself, on the strategy, on the workout, and I just try to give 200%, and that's it.
And right before we went on the air, you were telling a story about the first time you went to the games in 2015, and you weren't speaking English really good yet.
Yeah, I don't think I'm really good now, but I can like understand everything. It just in 2015, I just don't understand the briefing, don't understand the other athletes, so I couldn't have conversation, make friends there. So it was a really tough competition and really tough for me to not speak with the other athletes and sponsor and stuff like that. So I made the decision to learn English, to have friends and stuff like that in my sports. So now it's better, but it's not perfect yet.
So what about with the judges? Like if you were at the games and they were judging and if they no-repped you, did you know what they were?
Yeah, but
needed you to do?
I wasn't that bad.
Okay.
I knew the simple English.
Okay.
It was good, but not after like conversation like that. Yeah.
So was the first word you learned no rep?
Yeah. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, CrossFit didn't have a backup plan for non-English speakers during briefings?
At all. No, at all. There was a lot of like athletes from the US, and that was it. There was no like a French volunteer like for us, but that's the English is international, so I think I was the only one not speaking English that year.
So
Now it's more common because we have people from everywhere, but you need to speak English now, I think.
So I'm almost afraid to ask this. So that has not changed. They still don't have volunteers speaking other languages to help out?
I don't think, no. I was really bad in 2015 at swimming, but when I was in the police academy, we have a swim coach there. So I worked a lot of my swimming. So it's getting better now. So it's more like a damage control.
Yeah.
So if they can put the swimming event with a running or kayak or something more endurance, I think I can do well in this workout.
You keep saying the job, and I don't know if our listeners know what that is, but you're a police officer, correct?
Yeah, you're right.
And that is Amy's wheelhouse, as she listens to every true crime podcast that's out
That is
there.
true. Yes, I do.
And she makes friends with every police officer in her gym.
Listen, I just need to make sure that I understand, safety and all that. I just got to always be, my head's on a swivel all the time. I'm always ready, prepared.
That's good.
So she's actually done a few ride-alongs.
Yeah.
Because that's how into this she is. Have you ever done ride-alongs with people?
In my police car?
Yeah. Or is that allowed?
Yeah. Not really.
Okay.
If you do a ride with me, it's not a good sign.
Oh. Oh.
You're on the back seat and we're going.
Yeah. I don't want that kind of ride along. No.
It's not the same police here than in the US. It's different. We are more, I won't say more structured, but we are really, really like by the book.
Yeah.
How excited are you to get back to the games after that last year?
I mean, honestly, I think every games trip is really special, like for all their own reasons. Like the first qualification is obviously something incredibly special and kind of incredibly ingrained in my mind, just like getting there for the first time. And every other games trip has been special for other reasons, whether different phases of life, different memories at the competition, executions, like, all these things. But this one definitely, I would say, kind of just means the most to me personally, because I was really nervous after last year, just because last year at the games, my son Wes was like 10 months old. So he was still kind of mostly a baby. Like he was crawling, he was dabbling and walking. But I knew that this year was going to be very different. Like my life was going to look very different. I was going to be under a lot more, albeit beautiful stress of being a dad, being chasing a toddler around. Life is just, there's a lot more on the table now than there has been in any year past. So to be able to kind of maintain my focus and, balance these priorities of being a father, running a gym, being an athlete, like to be able to kind of keep those balls in the air, father and partner, of course, to my wife. I put those in the same bucket. One of the most photogenic games athletes, my son, or, but no. So, I appreciate that though. But yeah, so I mean, this year just means the most on a personal level because again, I feel like I really lived out my values the last 12 months. Like I feel, obviously we can always be better. Like I feel like, I always feel like I could be better as a dad. I could be better as a partner. You can be better as an athlete, but I feel like I really gave the things that I told myself I would give my highest priorities. And I did that. Like I gave absolutely everything to my wife, to our family, to my son, to be the most present dad possible, to spend as much time with him as I could, to try and, teach him, the values that I live by, obviously not by telling him, but by showing him and like him seeing these things as much as he can see them. Obviously, he's almost 2 now. So I think this one just means a lot more because I feel like the impact of the last 12 months of my life has been the most significant, as far as how I've been able to impact my son, impact, myself as a person, kind of, through growth that way. So this one, I'm very excited for the trip itself, but I'm mostly just excited that, again, kind of the values and the journey led me back here. Just being honest, I didn't know if it would be enough. Like the field's only getting younger. I'm only getting older. You know, my responsibilities are only growing. A lot of these younger guys, their responsibilities are little to non-existent. You know, so there was definitely some questions in my mind throughout the year of like, am I good enough? Am I doing enough? But again, like I stayed true to my values, and I'm just really excited that everything kind of came full circle and I was able to make it back. And definitely, you know, I've felt the most mentally assured that I've ever felt competing, just because I think my confidence in who I am as a person is at an all-time high, because I identify as a father and a husband. I don't identify as an athlete as much anymore. While obviously I do identify as an athlete, like, you know, I know that what matters at the end of the day is not the CrossFit Games. You know, like obviously it's a huge piece of my life. I've devoted so much time to it. Like I want to excel. Like I want to go and I want to perform my best. I want my best finish. I want all these things. Like they obviously mean a lot to me, but they don't mean as much as these other things. And I think, you know, having that understanding and having it be actually like genuine and true, like I feel those things. I'm not, you know, they're not just words. It allows me to feel a lot more free than I've ever felt competing, because again, it's like, I'm just out here to be myself, to show off my hard work and to execute. You know, the leaderboard doesn't stress me out as much as it used to. Like, you know, again, at the end of the day, I know that I'm going to come home and I'm going to be a happy guy with so many things going for him that I truly love. So, you know, I think, and that just gives me, yeah, like the Granite Games was just the best I've ever felt competing. And even the last chance qualifier, very similarly, like I was all cards on the table. Like it's going to be what it's going to be. I wasn't overly stressed about the outcome of the weekend. Obviously I was stressed, but like, you know, I was like, I'm going to do what I can do. And if it's enough, it's enough. And I really hope it is. But if it's not, my life is going to go on. And I think that attitude can possibly make me very dangerous, you know, kind of when the games come around. And I'm really excited to kind of see how that plays out.
So a couple quick things. First, you said the phrase dabble and walking. I love that. That sounds like what I would be after 8 beers in on the golf course.
That's also fair.
2, I met your dad at Granite Games. He said some really nice things to me that touched my heart very much. And I can see what you get from him. How was he as an example, as a father that you have kind of moved toward with your son?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I have a really great relationship with both my parents. I'm incredibly thankful for my upbringing. Like they instilled in me a lot of things that I didn't realize until obviously I became a father. And yeah, I mean, without getting overly emotional, I have a very good relationship with my dad, and the things that he taught me and like kind of continues to teach me about being a dad and kind of what it means and like things like that. The way that I see the way that you know, like the way that I see him support me now, and like being able to mirror those moments with my own son and kind of like just seeing it from both sides. Like I see now, like I think the sun and rainbows shine out of my son's asshole. And I definitely see how my dad, he views me the same way still, you know, like it's that like unconditional love, support that I knew I had growing up, but you don't really kind of feel it in the same sense as like a man until you have a son, and you see, like, you feel those same things. You know, I see Wes succeed, obviously at very quote unquote trivial things now, like remembering certain colors and being able to name certain things and like using new words appropriately and like lifting his D-ball for the first time. Like you see him struggle to pick up. We have a 10-pound D-ball in the basement. And like, you see him struggle to pick it up, and like, I keep working with him. It's like, hey, like, no, like try this. And like, then he does it. And now we can do it all the time. So it's like just seeing those little things and like being so genuinely excited about them is like wild. And obviously like being able to know that that's the perspective that my parents have is like very cool, just to kind of like that full circle experience. But yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky to have a very supportive, you know, kind of family unit. And like I said, I'm eternally grateful for what my parents were able to give me, you know, just as a person, and also, you know, just to kind of the appreciation of how much being a parent and how much being a father kind of really, really means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody can describe what parental love is. You can only experience it. And
Tim,
it turns us all into mush.
wait till you see your child start doing an athletic event or some kind of performance, because you think you're nervous before you go and compete. It is like tenfold when it's your child doing anything.
Oh, I can. Yeah, my dad is like when I compete, my dad is a noticeably disheveled mess.
Yeah.
Like my mom, you know, like so at the Granite Games, my mom and Wes and Caitlin, they were on the Jumbotron at various points. Like after I won the first event, they were up there. And my friends joked, they're like, "Where was your dad?" And I'm like, "He was anxiously pacing the length of the stadium. Like he was unable to contain himself, because like when I compete, his coping mechanism is anxious pacing and cheering. You know, like."
My last hockey question is, I talked to Carolyne Prevost on Saturday, and I told her I was talking to you today. And she said, well, you know, we played against each other when I was at Wisconsin and she was at Ohio State. And I think she was going to talk some smack about them winning national championships and all that stuff.
Of course. They were really, really good. And I mean, that's all there is to it. They were a better team, and they outplayed us a lot, and they had a great core group of girls. A couple of them are on the Olympic team right now. And, you know, it's cool to look back on those times and see that, like, you know, we played against each other for a year or two, and we're where we are today. And it's, you know, just a different sport, being just as competitive. But, you know, back then you wanted to really beat each other, and you didn't have that, you know, that women empowering women kind of feel. And now there's a level of respect where it's like, you grow up and you're like, you want to see your competitors doing well as well. So, you know, it's really cool to look back on that and see that I'm not the only hockey player. I've been doing CrossFit now for longer than I've been competing in college. So, you know, I think this is, you know, taking a bit more of my identity, but I'll always look back on that and remember that is, you know, that's where I came from. That's what got me to where I am today.
And she really didn't talk smack. She was super nice about everything, and said that, like, every time she's met you, you're like the nicest person in the world. And it's cool that you have the common background. And I guess I have one more question. She's working very hard to develop a women's pro hockey league, because she thinks that females need to have that target, that they can do something other than Olympics.
Yeah, 100%.
And she's working very hard with that. And I was just wondering if you had any inclination to jump on board with something like that as well.
I haven't been like reached out personally by anybody. I definitely think that there is a lot of interest in it. And, you know, I would be happy to speak with anyone that is, you know, trying to make that happen. Because back when I was in college and graduating, like, there's not so much to look forward to at the time, except for going overseas and playing, you know, a semi-pro league or something where you still had to work a full-time or part-time job to do what you love. And if, you know, we can make it so that women have something where they can be drafted into it, I just think that would be, you know, incredible. And it would, you know, it gives, for some that are not fully ready to like go right into, you know, corporate America, or, you know, into a job where like your job in college was to be a full-time student, but also a full-time student athlete. So that athlete aspect doesn't just leave immediately. Like, some people struggle with that, and I was one of them, and trying to fill that void, and, you know, having something to look forward to or something to try to, you know, attack after college is super important. And just, you know, being ready for the real world, because I personally wasn't. And, you know, it took time to adjust to get to even where I am now.
Oh, I'm a full-time coach and personal trainer alongside all the training that I do, which is I'm proud to be that, because I think I always say being a better coach makes me a better athlete, and being a better athlete makes me a better coach. So I usually coach anywhere from 2 to 3 of our hour-long classes. And then alongside that, depending on the day, 1 to 2 to 3, depending on the day, 1, 2, or 3 personal training clients that range from 30 minutes to an hour. So I'm always up on my feet.
And you're at the gym all day then?
All day. I live that gym life.
So I actually talked to your media guy at Granite Games.
Yeah.
And he was giving me a little behind the scenes, behind the curtain of Rebecca's life. And that because on social media, you are so bubbly, so energetic. And he goes, she puts in so much time working out, so much time coaching, that when she's not on camera, she's like a zombie talking to nobody and just getting stuff done in the office.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because a lot of people would never guess that I'm actually an introvert. Like I do like my alone time, but when it comes to doing what I love, which is training and coaching, there is like a whole ton of energy, and almost like every single bit of my energy goes into that. And I want to make sure I'm bringing the energy for the classes when I'm coaching and everything. And I do have a ton of fun doing that. So that's when kind of the loud, crazy side of me comes out. And doing the videos and the reels and everything is another way to just kind of like let like the Rebecca, the crazy, silly Rebecca that's always there on the inside come out. But when it comes down to buckling down and training, yeah, a lot of energy goes there. So yes, if you ever see me sit down, which is very rare, like an hour to hour and a half at lunch, like I'm usually pretty quiet and then doing all the office work that comes with being a coach, like programming and editing my videos and doing all the stuff that I don't have to be on my feet for. So believe it or not, I would consider myself more of an introvert.
Yeah, and Kat has been able to make it back to us, so we'll bring her in. And now we can't hear her.
Own an affiliate, if someone just randomly walks through your front door, you kind of have to say hi.
Yeah, we explained to the audience that you were going to be popping back on.
Oh, good grief.
But it's awesome because I love that you say that, because a lot of people don't understand that introvert extrovert is not like how you function. It's how you get your energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just need that alone time, that quiet time to recharge so that you can do all the things that you love. And so while we're talking about the Instagram and the crazy stuff that goes on there, you are amazing. I have said to so many people that you are the best follow on Instagram.
I was actually just mentioning to Kat right here that she kind of understands some of my crazy reels from a coaching perspective, because I try to balance out my Instagram, because I'm very like you said, I put in a lot of hard work behind the scenes on my social media as well, of just like showing how serious I take my training, but also realizing having fun with it only makes the process and the learning process and all the hardworking hours in the gym, it makes it all the better when you're having fun with it. And then you get to kind of like, people love I try to keep it as real as possible for people too, like the coach jokes, what the coaches deal with on the daily basis. And I've actually like bit at my coach a little bit and in some of my reels and everything, and he gets it, and it's just funny jokes going back and forth. So I try to keep it as real as possible on there for people.
Yeah, it's like all the great memes just in a video format, right?
Yeah.
Really, in terms of, all of those cliches for coaches and athletes.
Yeah.
Working.
So how did you guys meet? Let's get to the root of this whole thing.
Yeah, I met him at the CrossFit gym when I first started.
And did you like peer across the classroom and you saw this guy lifting weights and you're like, ooh?
You want to hear? Well, I'll tell you from my point of view. I walked in and he was shirtless and sweaty because he was just getting done. And I remember we shook hands. He was like, "I'm Jake," and I was like, "Wow, that guy's really hot." But like, we were both. Well, I was in a relationship at the time, so I was like, "Okay, I can't like give it any more time of day because that'd be like disrespectful."
I had a girlfriend too at that time.
Well, I didn't know that, but that was my point of view, meeting him.
And Jake, your point of view?
So I saw a picture of her a long time ago, like 3 years before we met, and we live in a really small town, and like everyone should know, like everyone. I had no idea who she was, and I thought she was pretty, but didn't really do much more than that. And I saw her walk in the gym, like, I think that's that girl that I think is really pretty. And I had a girlfriend at the time, and that kind of just fizzled out. And Karen McAdams,
one of the
coaches there at the gym, she kind of had us do accessory work together and had us always do partner workouts together, and it just kind of grew into this relationship. It was really fun.
So Kat, I didn't know that matchmaking was part of the L1.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
What's the age difference between you guys?
3 years. I was 2001. He's 1999, but like it's either 2 or 3 years depending on
that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what was your first date?
We had.
A real date. I honestly didn't know half of our dates were dates or not, because I didn't know if he liked me or if we were just friends. So.
Yeah, I was trying to be very, very respectful. Like I wouldn't kiss her, wouldn't even really.
We didn't even
touch her.
Like it was very, very friend zoney. Mm-hmm. But like we went to the movies, we went to dinner. He paid, but there was just like.
I feel like the biggest most problem.
No, but that wasn't even close to the first date.
Oh yeah, but like that's. Oh yeah.
No, there was like months of like dinner, movies, hanging out, but it was very like, do we like each other? Do we not? But neither of us did anything, so it took a while.
Was that the plan, Jake, or were you just like timid, respectful?
Both, I feel like, but I was very picky about who I would go and try to date, if that makes any sense. I like if there's a girl and she loves to go to parties or like to drink, I was very picky about that. So I'd kind of test the waters and ask questions and figure that kind of stuff out. So I guess it was just a lot of dates, trying to get to know her.
Oh my gosh.
So, what?
So when was the moment that you knew she was the one?
Oh boy.
Oh.
What?
No, I thought he was going to ask a different question.
To be honest, I think it was just a slow build up to it. I don't think there was ever just like one moment. To be honest, I don't remember.
Yeah, so. I'd agree with that. I feel like it was definitely just like a linear progression upward rather than like, oh, we're going to get married.
Who said I love you first?
I did. For sure.
And did you say it back right when he said it?
No. I was so heartbroken.
No. How does that work?
I told her at the CrossFit Games we went to, was that the 2018?
I don't know.
I don't know. We went to the CrossFit Games and I told her I loved her there. So.
Was it like she was about to go on and you were just like, I love you?
No. I wasn't competing. We were just spectating.
Okay.
No, we were just hanging out. I gave him a kiss and was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Thank you is the worst response for a guy.
Yeah,
the worst.
Hey, we're married, so I'm happy. It worked out.
How long did it take for you to reciprocate, Alex?
Do you remember? I don't remember.
I don't know. I think it was like a month, maybe a little bit sooner.
Yeah. Like how many more times did you after that? Did you not say it again, Jake? Were you just like, oh, okay, too soon?
I'm pretty sure I kept saying it. I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'm very straightforward with stuff. I'm like, if I like you, I'll tell you I like you. Yeah.
Yeah, it took me a little bit. I don't remember. I think I was like a lot more hesitant when we started dating. Like, I did not like he was saying, he was very picky and very like, if he was dating someone, it was for a reason. I was more like when we first started dating, like, because I was 16, so I was like, oh, like I'll date him for a year, then I'm gonna like go to college, and we're probably not gonna stay together. So like, I was very cautious. Like I feel like I probably subconsciously like didn't even let myself like think about like, oh, like falling in love or this or that. So it took me a while to like open my mind up to actually like staying in a committed relationship.
But at what point did you realize, hey, this is something I could be pretty good at and I need to focus my energy here?
January 2017 ish. Yeah.
And
that's what I'd say that happened.
What happened to make you believe?
I realized that I didn't really want to do pole vaulting or diving in college, and I decided to just spend my time at the gym instead of trying to do 3 things at once. I just decided to, spend all the time at CrossFit.
And was there a love for it right off the bat?
Yes, and I think mainly what made me fall in love with it was I was skinny at the time, like maybe 160 pounds. By the time the CrossFit Games rolled around in 2017, which I qualified for as a teenager, I was 190-ish. So PRs for lifting were just across the board. Like it seemed like every day that I walked in the gym, I was able to hit a new PR, which was cool. So that was motivating.
Yeah, I can relate to that. My background in high school was swimming, and I swam in college briefly. And then when I got into a weight room and fell in love with like lifting, the PRs come like weekly.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's new every week, and you just want to get back and get back to it and improve and improve and improve.
For sure. Yeah, it was very rewarding, and it's definitely not like that now. I'll say things are still awesome, but it's definitely not the PR every day kind of feel.
Yeah, wait till you get to your 40s. Then I'm trying not to get hurt as a PR.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're fighting for inches and half seconds now, as opposed to like another plate.
Right. And I found that like during that time where I was beginning into CrossFit, weight PRs came extremely easily. Now the PRs in workouts or just time domains or, certain areas of fitness come by a lot quicker than the strength gains.
So the physical therapy part of your life, is there a plan to go back to that after you're done competing as well?
Yeah, I think I want to go back to that when I'm done competing, but it's hard to do at the same time. So I'm not working as a physiotherapist right now. But I think the dream is to be able to have some kind of physiotherapy at the gym. Like I want to work with CrossFit as well. So I don't want to go like being a physiotherapist at a hospital or something. I want to work with athletes with maybe a full package physiotherapist, nutrition, CrossFit coach, something like that, I think.
Okay. Yeah, because that way you have the same mindsets, right? You're not people who want to stay healthy by being fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think from an athlete standpoint, that's what we want. We want people that understand that we want to be able to continue doing the sports that we love. We don't want to be told, oh, you should stop doing that. We're going to make you better so that you can stop doing those sports. Like we want to be better so we can keep doing those sports. And so I think it makes that perfect marriage between those.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you already mentioned masters, and you're still young. So, so you plan on having a very long career?
No, it's more like when I'm too old to be an individual athlete, like master age, then I want to go back to work. So I haven't planned any like master athlete, but who knows?
So
time will show.
In 2021, you were really close to making the games.
Yeah.
I think you were 7th at the German Throwdown, so 2 spots out. 5th at the Last Chance qualifier, so 3 spots out. How much sweeter does that make this year?
It's just a big relief, and it was amazing to qualify this year, especially after last year. So, both being that close to qualifying, but also I really felt like I didn't get to show what I could do since I was really unlucky with my bike accident just before the semifinals and being a bit overtrained, not recognizing my body. And this year, everything was just on point. I felt really good during the semifinals. My knee was good, body was good. And then it was just an amazing feeling to finally get to show what I'm good at out on the competition floor.
The youngster showed up in Montreal. And how did it feel to be the veteran?
I never felt older than I have in competition. I feel like I was asked my age more than ever, and was referred as one of the older ones in the field, which was so weird because I still consider myself young. So yeah, I mean, I was competing against someone that would be a student of mine at school. So pretty cool.
That's crazy. So you teach high school. If people haven't seen other episodes we've done with you, you teach math, science, and phys ed.
Yep. So the last couple of years, it's been a lot more math and phys ed. So like this next year, I have 2 grade 10 math classes and then a fitness class. And then I also have a couple grade 9 classes also in math and phys ed.
So does your school, are you off during the summers or do you go year round?
So my last day is going to be Wednesday this week. And then essentially I'm off until the end of August. So it's good timing in terms of CrossFit season.
Sure.
Like it's pretty busy during the year. And then depending if I coach teams after school, like this year was the first year I didn't coach anything after school. I just kind of focused a little bit more on my training. But normally it can get very busy at different parts of the year with coaching after school. And then just like you're done work early, but you have a lot of work after work with corrections and lesson planning and stuff like that. So it can be long nights at times.
So Amy is a director of a preschool. So she's all about education.
Yes.
But she gets them as they're entering school. You get them as they're leaving high school and going on. Did I hear right that there's an affiliate in your school and you kind of run that?
Yeah, it's called CrossFit Gage. And I got it affiliated. So essentially I was in a very, very small high school, or like my maybe 2-3 years of teaching at first. And then we moved into a brand new high school. And then I was given a budget to fill up the fitness room. When they gave me the budget, I think they gave me a budget that was considering a lot of machines, which are more expensive. And I ended up basically building a CrossFit gym, which is a lot cheaper because functional equipment is just not as expensive to buy than, one machine that one person can use. And it's like $2,000. It was actually free to affiliate your high school gyms. As long as you're not charging students, anyone that has, equipment at school should be looking into affiliating their schools. So I got mine affiliated, and I've had kids over the years do the open. Now, obviously, when it's in March, it's a weird time because of March break or spring break, as you guys call it in the States. So some of it can be hard. So sometimes students will just do maybe 1 workout or 2 workouts, but they've participated in the open a few times. And yeah, it's just kind of been cool to see students train. I mean, I wouldn't really say that I do a lot of like CrossFit-ish, like intensity workouts with them, because they're more learning technique, and it's about the mechanics and just consistency of movement before adding the intensity. So I'm more worried about just their development and the introduction to just fitness versus the sport. So.
Do you ever get that student that's just like gung-ho and wants to do the whole open and will come in on break?
I have had in a couple years, like a few students that like really wanted to get into it. But a lot of them they haven't gotten the experience that they should go necessarily all in. And I think I'm very patient with some of them and kind of molding them to take their time. So I don't think that they've really like dug into as like hard as some of the teenagers that we've seen, obviously, like really take it seriously and are training like multiple hours a day. I guess I'm a little bit more strict and to kind of slow them down a little bit and really work on the development.
So let me ask this real quick. I was going to ask, do your students follow like your season to see, how you're doing and celebrate that with you? Or are they just kind of like, whatever?
I don't really talk about much of my like competitions or anything like that. They don't really see me train much at school or anything like that. Like I'll train at lunchtime or sometimes during my lesson prep time, but like no other student is inside there. So I wouldn't really say I talk much about like my fitness competitions or where I'm at. They'll notice more about what I'm doing through my Instagram. If like some of my students follow me on Instagram, so they'll know that if I'm away at a competition, and then they'll ask me how it was, and they'll follow along there. But I think a lot of them don't quite understand maybe how it works. They just see a fit teacher and they think I can do anything.
Yeah, right.
So you own a lawn care company. How are you going to balance that for the next 6 weeks?
Right now, I'm in a good spot. I have 2 employees that are pretty good, so I can rely on them. So I'm pretty confident I will be able to have more time for myself and to be able to train harder for the games. So that's pretty cool.
Is that a new endeavor for you, Alex, or is that something you've been doing for a while now?
No, that's something I've been doing for a while, but I was always just splitting my time between both and not really focusing 100% on CrossFit, neither my company. But this year, I really wanted to focus more on CrossFit and push it, as I'm now 26 years old. So it's my best years, I believe. So, but at the beginning of the season, it was harder to find employees because I guess it's a problem everywhere right now. So yeah, but as I said, right now I found two employees that are really good, so I can rely on them more.
I've always said that it seems like landscaping companies fared very well during the pandemic. Was that also true? Like, did you start it prior to and see sort of a steady workflow?
Yeah, well,
it seemed like everybody wanted their lawn done and things,
yeah.
to spend their money on because they couldn't leave the house.
Yeah, definitely. I think more and more. Yeah, that's true. But I've been doing it for 8 years now, so it's been something I've been doing for a pretty long time. And I'd say I'm always limiting myself on clients because I don't want too much clients and not be able to offer the service that I can offer. And I want to be able to train also. So I never really tried to expand my company that much, but just to be able to have a good flow of revenue and be able to train the rest of the year. So here in Canada, I just do landscaping or lawn care in the summer. So it's basically from mid-May to mid-October. So the rest of the year, I can train pretty much full time.
Yeah, you fared very well at some of the off-season competitions. Top 10 at Rogue with that full games field, and then the all-Canadian podium at Wadapalooza.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was a fun experience. Again, I surprised myself there. I didn't know I was able to do that, so that was good, I guess. But right now, I'd say I'm more confident, so I'm excited to see what I can do at the games.
And if I remember right, when we interviewed Sam Cornier, he said you guys have trained together?
Yes, we train together sometimes, but not that often because he lives in Montreal, and it's a 3-hour ride from where I live. But we train together sometimes.
And you're both Mayhem athletes?
Yeah. Since he's on Mayhem since 2019 or 2020, and I follow their programming since last year.
Okay.
So you weren't lulled into their coaching after doing the Mayhem Classic? It took a little more convincing to get you in there?
Yeah, I didn't up on Mayhem right then. I'd say I'm a bit of a self-learner, if I can say that. So I really enjoy educating myself on everything, pretty much training, nutrition, and sleep-wise. So I do pretty much all of it on my own. But since last year, I've been doing Mayhem, I'd say 50-50, Mayhem and my own programming. So yeah.